Hello, welcome back. And of course, if you're new to this channel, welcome. My name is Tracy, and in this video, I'm going to tell you the history of Usui-Reiki. So stay tuned. I would like to begin this video by pointing out that there are many different styles of Reiki healing. Reiki is a Japanese word, so if you have not yet watched my video called What is Reiki? Go back and watch that video if you want, because that'll go a little deeper into the word Reiki and how it originates and all of that. But anyway, in this video, I am specifically going to mostly give the history of the Usui-Reiki. So there, like I said, were many different styles of Reiki, but the specific style of Reiki that I am attuned to and that I work with is the Usui-Reiki system. So Mikao Usui is the one who is basically like the founder of Usui-Reiki. And he was actually born in August 15th of 1865 in a village in Japan. Now the village is near what is present day Nagoya, Japan. I hope I'm saying that right. Sorry if I'm not. But anyway, he loved learning, and Mikao Usui, by the time that he became an adult, had started traveling the world. So he went to China and Europe, and he even went to the United States for a time. And he loves reading. So Mikao Usui has always been someone who pursued more knowledge and wisdom in his life. So after all of those travels, it kind of made Mikao Usui think more about, well, what is the purpose of life? So it was at that time that he kind of went on this spiritual journey. So during Mikao Usui's quest for his life purpose, or the purpose of life in general, he had come across something that taught him that there's a specific state of consciousness that once one can achieve this state of consciousness, that they would know the purpose of life. And not only that, they would also be guided to achieve their life's purpose. So this special state is actually called Anshin Ditsume. Anshin Ditsume. I think that's how you say it. So anyway, now he was on this new quest to achieve that state of Anshin Ditsume. So on Mikao Usui's spiritual quest, he found out that one way to reach that state of Anshin Ditsume is actually called Zazen meditation. And so he went to an instructor or a teacher to help him to learn this Zazen meditation so that he could then reach the Anshin Ditsume state of enlightenment. Now, there was a little problem because after practicing for over 3 years, Mikao Usui was not reaching this desired state quite yet. So his teacher actually said that the only other way would be if you were willing to die for the sake of Anshin Ditsume. After hearing that, Mikao Usui went and prepared for death, because he so wanted to achieve that state of consciousness. So in February 1922, Mikao Usui ventured out to Kurama Yama, which is a sacred mountain. And his goal was to either reach or achieve Anshin Ditsume or to die. So he set off and he began to meditate out in nature on the mountain. And it is even said that there's a waterfalls on this mountain that people even today will still go and meditate under these waterfalls as the water hits their crown chakra. And the water coming down and opening the crown chakra can actually help these people to achieve different states of consciousness because of their crown chakra opening up. So it is possible that during his time there that Mikao Usui did something similar, because it was on the 21st day. So now we're into March of 1922. He had grown weaker and weaker as the days went on, but finally on the 21st day, a light came down through his crown chakra, knocking him unconscious. He felt the spirit of the Reiki entering him. So he was having some kind of spiritual experience after the 21 days that he spent on the mountaintop, just kind of meditating and being super spiritual, trying to reach this state of consciousness. He also noticed that his consciousness was now filled with joy and a certain peace that he had never experienced before. It was like he had a whole new sense of vitality, and he just had a different kind of energy with his new consciousness. And so he went running down the mountain and ended up tripping on some roots, like tree roots. And so obviously, out of instinct, he just went and grabbed his foot, which was injured, and held it in his hands. And that's when he started to notice a sensation coming from his hands, which then led him to notice that his foot was then healed. So he kind of started to realize, okay, something has happened on this mountaintop. So it is like he had discovered Reiki. So I do believe that it is possible that Mikao Usui ended up reaching that state of consciousness, because not only did he find Reiki, but it seemingly he also found the guidance to achieve that life purpose of Reiki. Mikao Usui, who is now known as Usui-Sensei, went on to heal and teach his friends and family how to use Reiki, and he decided that Reiki would be best shared with as many people as possible. So Mikao Usui spent his life teaching thousands of people how to administer Reiki, as well as healing people when they were ill or after natural disasters such as an earthquake that once hit, where he actually helped many people get through that traumatic experience. So anyway, this special state of enlightenment not only gave him the powers to heal, to pass on this ability to others, as well as it also gave him this complete sense of bliss and changed his life entirely. That's why those 5 Reiki principles are also an important part of Reiki, because Reiki is not only about healing a physical dysfunction. Reiki is about healing the whole person, the whole individual, which is more than just a physical body. The individual also includes a whole consciousness. So the more that you live by the 5 Reiki principles, and the more that you let Reiki into your life, the more it can alter your consciousness into that state of higher energy, higher vibration, to that state of joy and bliss and love and sharing. So, anyway, he was definitely filled with excitement and ready to pass this on to the world, and which he did. Mikao Usui, or Usui-Sensei, ended up getting awards even for being of such service to humanity in Japan, for teaching and healing so many people and enriching the lives of so many. Now, another person who's important in the history of Usui-Reiki is Hayashi Sensei. Hayashi Sensei had his own Reiki clinic because Mikao Usui actually asked him to open one of his own. And so he did. And he and his wife ran his clinic all the way until the time that they had both passed away. So Hayashi Sensei is another important figure in Reiki because he is the one who healed and then attuned to a Reiki master, the Hawayo Takata. Takata Sensei is what we can call her. Let's talk a little bit about Takata Sensei because she's the one responsible for bringing Reiki from Japan to the Western world. So, Takata Sensei was born in Hawaii on December 24th, 1900. She ended up becoming married and having 2 daughters, but unfortunately, her husband died at the early age of only 34 years old. So she was then left to raise her 2 daughters alone. Now, later on, at one point, she ended up having a lot of abdominal pain, ended up developing some kind of lung condition, and ended up even having a nervous breakdown. And to top it all off, her sister ended up passing away. And then it was her responsibility to travel to Japan, where her parents had resettled, to deliver the news of her sister's death. So while Takata Sensei was in Japan at that time, she ended up going to the hospital for that abdominal pain and the lung issue. And that is where she had become diagnosed with a tumor, gallstones, appendicitis, and asthma, all at one time. She was just diagnosed with all of these conditions. And so she was told to prepare for an operation, but she decided to wait to go ahead and operate, and she visited Hayashi Sensei's clinic instead. And so that is where Miss Takata went, and she was actually unfamiliar with Reiki or what Reiki is, because remember, she is from Hawaii. So Miss Takata, when she first went, had no idea. But the reason she became impressed with Reiki was because when she went in, she didn't specifically say what her problem was, but she became diagnosed again by the Reiki practitioner who was able to tell what the issues were or what areas of the body had the conditions. And so that actually really made her curious about Reiki. And so she decided, why not? I'll go ahead and give it a try. There were 2 Reiki practitioners treating Miss Takata each day, and she was actually very surprised by how hot their hands would become. She even started to think that they were using some type of equipment to make their hands so very hot as they were treating her. So one day during a treatment, she noticed that their sleeves were very wide and open. So she ended up grabbing them and checking their sleeves to see if something was hidden up there, to which, of course, there was nothing there. And that is when the practitioners who were healing her decided to tell her even more about Reiki. So Miss Takata continued to come for her Reiki treatments and learned more and more about Reiki, and she was progressively getting better. And in fact, she was all the way better within 4 months with absolutely no operation. Whereas at the hospital, they just wanted to operate, just make her better that way. So she was very impressed with the treatment that she had received at the Reiki Ryohu clinic. Now, in the Usui-Reiki system, there are levels of Reiki. So Miss Takata decided that she also wanted to learn how to give Reiki. So she worked with Hayashi Sensei, and he actually attuned her to Reiki level 1. After being treated and also learning so much about Reiki, Mrs. Takata decided that she too wanted to learn Reiki. So, Hayashi Sensei initiated her into Reiki level 1, and then she worked with him in the Reiki clinic for a year there in Japan. And then in 1937, Miss Takata had brought the Reiki back to Hawaii, and she actually opened many clinics there. So in 1937 and 38, Hayashi Sensei actually came to Hawaii to help Takata to set up her Reiki and to establish Reiki in Hawaii. So it was actually the two of them that brought the Reiki tradition to the West. And so it was after this, and it was in February of 1938 that Hayashi Sensei initiated Takata Sensei as a Reiki master. And so now she could teach others the Reiki traditions as well. Let's just put it this way. Without Takata Sensei, Reiki could have just fallen into obscurity in Japan and would have never been introduced to the Western world. So for that, I am so grateful for Takata Sensei for bringing Reiki to Hawaii back in 1937. Thank you, thank you, thank you. All right, so Reiki, like I pointed out in my previous couple of Reiki videos, can be practiced by any person. It doesn't matter what your education background is. It doesn't matter what your culture background. It does not matter what race you are. And it does not matter what religion or spiritual practice that you are already subscribed to. Reiki just is. And it can go with any other spiritual practice. And it can go with any other medical treatment as well. So Reiki is good for all concerned and only works for the highest good. Now that was a brief history of the Usui-Reiki system of healing. That pretty much wraps up this little 3-part series on Reiki. So now you know what Reiki is, you know how Reiki heals, and you also know the history of Reiki and how it was spread from Japan to the United States to the rest of the world from there. Now, if you guys have any comments, be sure to put those in the comment section down below. If you like this video, be sure to give it a like. That helps me out a lot. Now, if you're a viewer and not yet a subscriber, please be sure to hit subscribe down below. And once you subscribe, you can click the bell and be notified anytime I make new videos. Thank you guys so much for spending your time with me. I love you. And I'll see you next time. Bye.